SLT Fibre and experience the power of fibre technology. Sri Lanka's only super fast internet connection. SLT Fibre. Call 1212 now.
Headlines tonight. Ideal position. Hambantota hailed for its unparalleled potential for bunkering and petrochemical businesses, taking into advantage strategic location along the international maritime route.
We are located right in between the users in the Far East and the oil producers in the Gulf.
2 days to go. Chairman of the Election Commission meets presidential candidates with social media on the agenda. Cost of flying overhead. Sri Lanka decides to hike navigation facility charges after 38 years.
And with the proposed rates, we will get about $12 million. The increase is about $4.5 million.
Challenging times. Subdued economic activity puts pressure on Sri Lankan banks' credit profiles. All this and much more coming up tonight on First at 9, this Thursday, the 14th of November 2019.
ගොඩක් ගර්ල්ස්ලා ආටිෆිෂල් විදියට පැහැපත් වෙනවා. ස්වභාවික විදියට පැහැපත් වෙන්න Fair and Lovely විටමින් තෙරපි දෙන්න. ඔබේ ස්වභාවික පැහැ ආයෙත් ඔබටම.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A very good evening and a warm welcome. This is First at 9 on AdaDerana 24 and I'm Indiveri Amwatha. With the whole of Sri Lanka on the cusp of the presidential election, the Elections Commission has released a statement urging state and private sector employers to grant leave in accordance with the location of place of work and the distance to relevant polling stations. It also warned that a fine or a prison sentence will be slapped on anyone found to have violated the right to vote.
The Election Commission, via its statement, insists that leave be granted to employees of both the state and private sector to cast their vote without reducing their holidays or salary. The Commission recommends that those who have to travel 40 to 150 kilometres from their place of work to relevant polling stations be granted leave ranging from half a day to 2 days. It also urges consideration on employees who may require 3 days' leave to cast their vote. In the meantime, the Sri Lanka Transport Board has put in place a special bus service for the benefit of those heading to outstations. Deputy Superintendent of the SLTB, PHRD Chandrasiri, says that 1,500 buses are deployed from Colombo to outstations. Meanwhile, a discussion between presidential candidates and political party representatives with the chairman of the Election Commission was worked off this morning at the Election Secretariat.
ඡන්ද ප්‍රමාණය අධික නිසා මේ ඒවට පෝලිං තුනක් දාන්න තීන්දුව කරා ඒක සඳහා අපේ පෝලිං ඒජන්ට්ලා දෙන්න වෙනුවට 3 දෙනෙක් පත් කරන්න කටයුතු කරා එච්චරයි අනිත් ඒවා ගැන අපි කතා කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ මේ තානං දවස්නේ සමාජ මාධ්‍ය තහනම් කිරීමක් සම්බන්ධයෙන් නෑ කිසිසේත්ම සමාජ මාධ්‍ය තහනම් කරන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙම සමාජ මාධ්‍ය තහනම් කිරීමට කිසිදු පියවරක් නොගන්න බව මැතිවරණ කොමිසම සඳහන් කළා.
සමාජ මාධ්‍ය සහ මුහුණු පොත Facebook මේ මැතිවරණ ප්‍රතිඵල ප්‍රකාශයට පත්වන තුරු తాවකාලිකව නතර කරන්න අත්හිටවන්න ඕනේ කියන යෝජනාව බහුතරයකගෙන් ඉදිරිපත් වුණා. කොමසාරිස්තුමා මේ පිළිබඳ අවධානය යොමු කරනවා කිව්වා TRC එකත් එක්ක මේ ගැන සාකච්ඡා කරලා සුසු පියවරක් ගන්නවා කියලා දැන් දුන්නා.
මාධ්‍ය ආයතන කිහිපයක මැතිවරණ විකාශනය තහනම් කරනවා කියලා
මාධ්‍ය උපමාන නොපිළිපදිමින් දිගින් දිගටම කටයුතු කිරීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් කමිෂන් සභාව විශාල කලකිරීමකින් අදහස් පළ කරේ. කමිෂන් සභාව විදියට මැතිවරණ ප්‍රතිඵල නිකුත් කිරීමේදී ඒ අයට ඒ ලබා දිය යුතු ප්‍රමුඛතාවය ලබා නොදී කටයුතු කරන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා කියන එක සභාපතිතුමා ප්‍රකාශ කර සිටියා.
A school security guard who was distributing handbills in the area of Derana Junction in Veerakodiyana of Bingiria today was handed over to police by the locals. Police officers who arrived at the scene searched his motorcycle. It yielded a stash of handbills promoting presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, Minister Sajid Premadasa, in envelopes bearing the official seal of the Ministry of Deputy Minister Nalin Bandara. Bandara is the Deputy Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade. In the meantime, 60,175 police officers are deployed island-wide, along with 8,080 members of the Civil Security Department and a Police Special Task Force. Police media spokesperson SSP Ruan Gunasekara says that anyone found to be causing trouble or flouting election laws will be strictly dealt with. Meanwhile, the transportation of ballot boxes for the presidential election 2019 also commenced today.
Gel scene action. Anti-germ mouthwash samaging in a close-up gel like a story ka start karanna.
Transparency International Sri Lanka laments the lack of a campaign finance law in Sri Lanka, saying it leaves observer groups unable to identify the sums and sources of their campaign money. It added that despite the group asking the Election Commission for asset declarations of 6 particular presidential candidates, the body refused to cooperate, offering the information after the election. TISL, however, conceded that the number of election law violations seen this time around is low, but it is also premature to arrive at conclusions based on numbers. Through the course of the presidential election, thus far, 111 election law violations have been recorded, along with 105 additional complaints and 83 arrests.
Transparency International Sri Lanka commenced its election observation activities through the Program for the Protection of Public Resources from the first week of October. Up to date, we have recorded 112 incidents reported to us, and in return, we have submitted 88 complaints to the Election Commission with the relevant evidence on the misuse of public resources. Now, some of these complaints were about actions that were due to take place. The others were about violations that had already taken place. The majority of the complaints were about the misuse of government vehicles and buildings, and there were also complaints about public officials engaging in election activities. If we take the numbers alone, there seems to be a decrease in the violations that have occurred from 2015 to 2018. Overall, the election observer groups have observed the level of election violations have been low this year. However, it is still premature to make conclusion based on these numbers alone, as we need to dive a little bit deep into the level of significance of these complaints. So we've recorded a number of incidents where appointments have been given. Another big violation is the use of helicopters during the campaign trail. We've observed the use of helicopters belonging to Sri Lanka Air Force, not only candidates, but in certain cases, others, politicians supporting the candidates have also been transported. Now, in the absence of a campaign finance law in the country, we're really unable to get an understanding of where the funding is coming from to the candidates, and on what areas the candidates are spending on and how much they're really spending. TISL have asked for the asset declarations of 6 candidates from the Election Commission using the Declarations of Assets and Liabilities law. The Election Commission has been unwilling to provide us with that information, and they've said that they are unwilling to provide until the election is over. We are hoping to request for the asset declarations of all of the candidates after the election, as they also do have a period of 3 months to submit the document. We also really strongly urge the Election Commission to initiate legal action after the election is concluded on those who have violated election laws, especially under Article 104 GG in the Constitution. The Election Commission does have the power to prosecute those who have violated election laws.
Several other election monitoring bodies also spoke to media today.
සංඛ්‍යාත්මකව බැලුවත් සිදුවීම් වල ස්වභාවය දිහා බැලුවත් ප්‍රචණ්ඩත්වයේ සැලකිය යුතු අඩුවක් අපිට දකින්නට තිබෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ප්‍රචාර කටයුතු වල පෝස්ටර් කටවුට් ප්‍රදර්ශනයේ සැලකිය යුතු අඩුවක් දකින්නට තිබෙනවා. ඒ වගේම පොලිතින් භාවිතයේ සැලකිය යුතු අඩුවක් දකින්නට තිබෙනවා.
අපිට වාර්තා වුණේ තර්ජනය කිරීම පහර දීම් ආදී 38ක ප්‍රමාණයක් පමණයි. නමුත් සමස්තයක් වශයෙන් මැතිවරණ ඉතාමත්ම සාමකාමී වාතාවරණයක පැවැත්වුවා. හෙට දිනේදී සමස්ත දිවයින පුරාම අපි ජංගම නිරීක්ෂණ රථ 210ක් පමණ යොමු කරනු ලබනවා.
With the crucial presidential elections just days away, access to voting centres continues to be an issue of national importance for the residents of the village of AdaDerana in the Galle district. However, this simple issue of access is somewhat more of a problem than we could have imagined.
The little village of AdaDerana in the Galle district is home to 60 families consisting of a total of 275 persons. Come election day, for the villagers eager to cast their franchise and choose their president, it is a much harder task than for people elsewhere in the island. With the allocated voting centre being located at the Millava Primary School in the Nellua area of Galle, residents of AdaDerana are faced with a 55-kilometre journey taking them through Deniaya, Moravaka and then Nellua just to join the rest of the country's citizens in participating in this all-important vote.
AdaDerana කියන කොට්ටාසේ පවුල් 60ක් ඉන්නවා. ඒ වගේම ඡන්දදායකයින් 170ක් ඉන්නවා. ඒ වගේම සම්පූර්ණ ජනගහනය 275ක් වගේ වෙනවා.
කිලෝමීටර් 70ක ඉතින් මේ පාස් කරගෙන යන්න ඕන මම ඡන්දය දාන්න. දෙනියටකින් දෙනියයි මොරවකට ගිහින් මොරවගෙන් නෙළුවට යනවා.
For the longest time, the villagers have had to take an alternative 4-kilometre route going through the Dellao Forest Reserve, which was recently closed to the public by the Forestry Department. The villagers have requested the authorities to allow them access through the shorter route or provide them with a polling booth closer to home.
අසු එකක් වෙන මට තියන්න බෑ.
ගැබිලි මාතාවන් එහෙම ඉන්නෝ ඒගොල්ලන්ට යන්න බැරි නිසා ඒක මග ඇරෙනවා.
ඒ නිසා අපේ ප්‍රදේශයට ඡන්ද මධ්‍යස්ථානයකුත් ලබා දෙනවා නම් රටේ මතය ප්‍රකාශන වෙන වෙලාවේදී අපේ ජනතාවගේ මතයත් රටට පෙන්වන්නට පුළුවන්.
AdaDerana approached the Galle District Secretary Somaratna Vidanapatirana about the issue. He revealed that a special public transport service will be provided for the residents of AdaDerana to travel from Nellua for the purpose of casting their votes.
Minister of Transport and Civil Aviation has decided to increase the navigation facility charges, which applies to aircraft using the Sri Lankan airspace. Addressing a media briefing on the matter, Subject Minister Arjuna Ranatunga expressed hope of the revision coming into effect from February next year, adding that the amendment was done in accordance with a formula which factors the size of aircraft, weight and distance. He went on to say that the Sri Lankan airspace, which is 20 times the size of the country's landmass, sees around 125 aircraft occupying it on a daily basis. When responding to a question, Minister Ranatunga reiterated that the newly unveiled Jaffna International Airport can only accommodate aircraft with 80 to 85 passenger capacity, and the government is waiting to see an increase in demand for any expansions which will facilitate the likes of A320.
We have taken a decision to increase overflying charges, which we haven't done for last 38 years. The last time we have done in 1981, and we have increased up to 57%. Previously, the collection was about $7.8 million. And with the proposed rates, we will get about $12 million. The increase is about $4.5 million. This enhancement has helped improve safety, efficiency, regulatory, economical, substantial and environmentally responsibilities of the air navigation in airspace that Sri Lanka is providing air traffic services. We analyzed most of the Asian countries and took this decision. It took almost like 3 months for the two institutions to discuss and come with different proposals. So this will happen after February. I have to send a cabinet note just to inform the cabinet.
During the media briefing, the Minister of Transport and Civil Aviation was also quizzed on several aspects of the newly commissioned Jaffna International Airport.
Other than Alliance India, any other local foreign any interest to invest in?
There's a local industry, it's called Fitsair. They have shown interest and most probably they are looking at starting either end of this month or early next month. We have been having discussions. We have been giving them a lot of facilities to start. Only issue is that our runway is not adequate enough to have a 320 or a 321 aircraft. This is a small aircraft. I'm talking about the Jaffna Airport. Only 80 to 85 seaters can be accommodated at the moment. But we are looking at expanding this as soon as we realize that we get a lot of business and a lot of tourists start traveling. There are more than 100 people taking Indian visas in Jaffna Consulate per day.
Right now, we have links only with India. Do you expect to have links with any other country in the region like Malaysia, Singapore, and Pakistan from this state?
No, we have opened it to anyone to come and invest in Sri Lanka. We don't only look at India, but a lot of travelling will be happening to South India from Jaffna.
A total of 284 inmates serving jail sentences for minor offences are to be granted presidential pardon and released. The Department of Prisons has revealed that the inmates aged over 65 and selected on the basis of not being guilty of murder, theft, sexual assault, child abuse and drug offences will be released once President Maithripala Sirisena grants approval for the amnesty. Commissioner General of Prisons J.W. Tennakoon also revealed that the list of selected inmates has already been directed to the President for approval. And we take a short commercial break. We'll be back with more on First at 9. Welcome back. And in your business news, Board of Investment Chairman Mangala P.B. Yapa is of the view that the much criticised Hambantota Port project may just be ideally placed to take advantage of the new bunker fuel regulations of the International Maritime Organization coming into effect on the 1st of January. Addressing media at a media briefing, the BOI chief asserted that the Hambantota port is strategically located to have petroleum, petrochemical and bunkering businesses.
Board of Investment Chairman Mangala Yapa hosting a media briefing to discuss the board's activities in promoting and increasing investment in the country highlighted that the Hambantota port may be strategically located to focus on petroleum, petrochemicals and bunkering facilities, and with new International Maritime Organization regulations on the use of low sulfur bunker fuels coming into effect from the 1st of January, Hambantota is perfectly positioned to take advantage of this opportunity.
3,000 acres available with the Hambantota International Port Group for logistics and port related activities. In addition to that, BOI is creating another zone of about 2,200 acres, which is focused very much on petroleum and petrochemical industries, with our success looking at, because Hambantota gives the ideal location for petroleum, because we are located right in between the users in the Far East and the oil producers in the Gulf. So we feel that Hambantota is ideally located, and that will have many cascading opportunities, converting or rather strengthening Hambantota as a petrochemical port, and also for bunkering. And you may have heard that by 1st of January 2020, there is a new IMO regulation that kicks in, which mandates all commercial vessels plying in international waters to change their bunker fuels to low sulfur fuels. That is where the new refinery opportunity is seen.
International rating agency Fitch Ratings warns Sri Lankan banks face pressure on their credit profiles due to challenging operating conditions in the aftermath of high loan growth and the impact of the Easter Sunday attacks in April. In a new report, the US-based rating agency said that the challenges have become more apparent in the 2019 first half results of Sri Lankan banks, just as reflected in the agency's 2019 negative banking sector outlook for Sri Lanka.
The latest Fitch Ratings banking sector report, released yesterday, highlighted a rise of 39% in non-performing loans for the first half of 2019 and 46% in the first 8 months of the year so far. Gross non-performing loans ratio for the sector has shown a rise to 4.8% in the first half of 2019, up from 4.2% in the first quarter of the year and 3.4% at the end of 2018. The report says that the deterioration in asset quality reflects the sector's challenging operating conditions, the aftermath of high loan growth, and the impact of the Easter Sunday attacks. Additionally, it also revealed that the stock of rescheduled loans has also shown growth, indicating that asset quality would continue to remain weak. The latest report by Fitch highlighted that loan growth has been muted after a strong loan expansion in the 2015-2018 period, rising by 1.3% up to the 8th month of 2019, reflecting weak borrowing sentiment and subdued economic activity. The ratings agency believes that future loan growth could remain weak until after the conclusion of the election cycle in 2020. Further, the loan deposit ratio for the sector has shown a decrease to 87% by the end of first half of 2019 from 91% at end of 2018, indicating that funding and liquidity pressure has eased. Overall, the banking sector has reported a drop in profit after tax up to the first half of the year, showing a net income of 41 billion rupees on the back of the reported slow loan growth, increased credit costs and higher effective taxes.
Taking you to the Colombo Stock Exchange, equities ended weaker today, edging lower from a near one-week high hit in the previous session as investors sold healthcare and telecommunication shares ahead of Saturday's presidential polls. The benchmark all-share price index ended 0.16% lower at 5,980.07. The Bourse fell 1.3% last week, ending a four-week run of gains. The index is down 1.9% for the year. Foreign investors were net sellers of riskier assets for a sixth straight session on Thursday, selling a net 5.8 million rupees worth of shares, extending the net foreign outflow from the equities market to 7.3 billion rupees for the year, according to index data. Here's a brief report on how markets performed, and the rupee ended 0.06% weaker at 180 rupees and 30 to 40 cents per dollar, compared with Wednesday's close of 180 rupees and 20 to 40 cents. In the currency, up 1.3% so far this year. Here's a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other major currencies during the day. We take a short commercial break. We'll be back with your international and sports news. That's all on First at 9 for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow at the same time with AdaDerana English News Service. Good night.